When I was in middle school, I would be taken out of class for a resource. It wasn't really explained to me like, you have a learning disability or you have an IEP, this is why we're taking you out of the class. So when a teacher would ask me, Lena, read this, or if I seen a word on a paper that I didn't know, I would make some type of big joke or just probably end up being a little rude to the teachers. And then I got suspended a lot. And I can really express that, I don't understand, like I'm acting this way so I can take the pressure off of myself. So it was real tough, but I felt like I did a good job covering it up because no one never knew that I was really hurting. My mom, she didn't graduate from high school, but my dad, he graduated from high school, and they work a lot. And then it didn't help to my parents at all because they wasn't educated on what I was struggling with and what I was being taken out of the class for. To me, I just felt like I was in it alone. I dropped out at 15, 10th grade. Once I got my sophomore schedule, I realized I had no arts on my schedule. And when I went to the school and I asked, it was like, oh, you are far behind. You need to catch up in academics. And I was real frustrated just to do straight academics. For me, it was just, I felt like that was gonna be overwhelming. So I made the decision that I didn't want to go back to school. So I was working many jobs. When I met a reverend who needed someone to take his kids to school, I used to have to be at his house at 6:30 every morning. 5 months in is when Reverend Hardaway sat me down and he was like, Lena McKnight, I want to ask you a question. Are you happy with who you are? Like, are you happy at the age of about to be 21, taking my kids to school every morning just for $40 in a weekly metro? You're a bright young lady, you should not settle for this. You need your GED, you're getting older. I have a good friend named Charlene Lawrence at this program called YouthBuild.
When Lena first came in, Lena was actually one of the oldest students. A big part of what YouthBuild does is work with disadvantaged youth, so we're an alternative school program for them. Lena was a little sad, a little angry, a little, low self-esteem.
I love my mentors at YouthBuild because they told me, no, you're not a mess up. Sometimes you have to get things wrong to get it right. One of the best things was they proved to me that they wanted me here. They didn't give up on me, which made me not want to give up on myself. I took my GED 3 times. On the third time I passed it. It was really the happiest day of my life. That was that point what made me feel like, you know what, I'm not stupid and I'm not incapable of learning. So once I passed my GED, I'm going to college. Being one of the first persons to graduate out of my immediate family from college is, it says a lot about breaking the cycle and saying that when you're faced with challenges, you can't overcome it.
Lena wanted to go to college to do social work so that she can help students such as herself.
I was going to college full-time in the morning, and in the evening I was working part-time with the Harlem Children's Zone as a 10th grade student advocate. I specifically wanted to work with 10th grade because that was the grade that I dropped out in. I was working with kids with learning disabilities, and they had IEPs. And I remember hearing that word IEP, but never knew what it was until I started working there. I would tell kids, like, listen, take advantage of it. I made sure that I educated them on what it is and why are they doing that. Nothing to be ashamed of. Having an IEP can help you succeed. So I would tell them, like, listen, if you have to get extra time on to help, think of it this way. While someone has to rush, I get to relax and really take my time and understand what I'm reading.
When Lena got her associate's degree, there was 1,000 people there. It was myself and Miss Felicia Garvin, who is one of Lena's other great mentors. We were both crying as we saw her name in the big book of graduates, Lena McKnight.
Sometimes I still have to pinch myself like, Lena, are you really about to graduate in May with a bachelor's degree?
She keeps doing it. She's at a point where she's very focused. She's not letting those self-doubts of when she was younger stop her from moving forward.